Going to get started now. We are going to be exploring the sustainability job market, and we'll also be looking at the online master in sustainability management as well.
Yes, so hi everyone. My name is Karim. I'm one of the career development managers at RSM. Most of the people that I speak to, I'm helping them transition into either a new industry or role or both. And today I'm happy to talk to you more about the sustainability industry and the chances that you have and the chance you can explore.
Thank you. And I'm Karim Hussainali. I am responsible for student recruitment for our online master's programs. We'll be diving into that shortly.
Great. So I will handle the first part of the presentation. And like I said, we'll be discussing the field of sustainability, how you can leverage your past experience and what we can expect from the market moving forward in the next couple of years from now, right? So I think before we go into detail about your chances about the job market, I think it's important to first discuss what is sustainability and what does it mean to work in that field actually? Because when we start to think about sustainability on a stereotypical level, right, we might presume it's, digging holes, planting trees, fishing waste out of the water. And that's definitely a part of sustainability, but it's not the complete picture of it. What you actually may find is that many jobs within sustainability are actually more comparable to the jobs that you already know and hopefully love. And if you don't, then all the more reason to be here, right? So you might find yourself actually doing jobs that are just taking place in the office, many coffees, many water cooler conversations, many times you're reporting a graph to higher management people, right? We're going to explore a bit more of all of that. So to elaborate more on this point about what work in sustainability means, I want you to think of sustainability as not its own separate batch of jobs, separate from any other job you may know and you already may be familiar with. It's more that there are opportunities to work on sustainable initiatives and sustainable projects also within current existing working atmospheres, right? But the main difference between these corporate sustainability jobs and the regular jobs is more the focus of the outcome. So more the goal or the purpose what you're working for, right? Instead of traditionally putting more money in the pocket of the company, it might change the need to something like balancing environmental protection, protecting the earth, social welfare, economic prosperity. However, a key difference in between most jobs and jobs within sustainability is that most jobs require some capacity of what we call systems thinking. And systems thinking is the idea that instead of focusing on one part of the chain, so to speak, you try to zoom out and you try to understand the whole process behind everything, right? So I guess an example within sustainability challenge could be, the rising temperatures, right? Generally, rising temperatures could be caused by increase in greenhouse gases, which means heat is being trapped, which means that then that heat is getting out and increasing the temperatures globally, right? A very high level example, of course, it has a lot more detail to it, but this is really a skill that you would need to develop already if you want to get into sustainability. But just to paint a picture that sustainability can take many different forms and is not linked to one particular industry per se. So I think to maybe make it a bit more tangible, we want to look at sustainability as essentially jobs that also employ certain green skills. So green skills could be defined as being the skills and knowledge that you need in order to foster net zero transition, as we say. But there might be many skills you might already recognize from your past experience, right? Whether they be technical, more knowledge-based, operational, or even soft skills. So soft skills, for example, could be being experienced with project or change management, your ability to make decisions, your ability to collaborate and do stakeholder management. Could also be more knowledge-based, for example, that you know a thing or two about sustainable procurement, you know a thing or two about carbon emissions, you know something about sustainable packaging. So these are just a couple of examples, but just know that many of the examples you can read on the screen here, such as knowing more about renewable energy or model development, right? Business model development is its own area, for example, but then you can make it green business development. So just to illustrate the point that there's no reason to panic if you feel like I have no idea what sustainability is whatsoever and start from zero. In most cases, you have built quite a good foundation already that will allow you to transition into these things more easily. And using your past leverage in order to transition, we also call these transferable skills. And I want you to also keep that in mind as we move forward a little bit. By the way, before I continue, I know that I might be calling up many different questions as I go through the slides. We will be taking some time later to address them. So please either write them down for yourself or put them in the chat, and we'll be looking at them shortly as well. So you may have read or heard in different news outlets that the demand for sustainability professionals is increasing. We need more sustainability professionals, but there are a couple of elements that are driving this particular demand, right? So first off, businesses are definitely increasingly realizing that sustainability is not just an ethical check mark to make on your compliance check marks, right? It's also necessary in order to just prolong, well, personally, like you could say, the existence of a brand to begin with, right? That definitely plays in line with the second point being that regulations in the world are tightening around the topic. So definitely Europe is definitely a leader in this. So for example, think of the European Green Deal, for example, but also the US is making big advancements into making regulations more tighter that more companies will have to comply with. And thirdly, also not unimportant, that more and more consumers take sustainable practices into account before they buy a product. This doesn't just include consumers, but also actually applicants. So it was found currently mostly within Europe, but professionals between 20 and 30 years old, about 70% of them will take sustainable practices in account of a company before they decide that they want to apply there. So it kind of creates this nice positive feedback loop of because consumers, applicants want people to be more sustainable along with governmental regulations. Companies will have to invest more into getting sustainable professionals, which will just reinforce the same feedback loop over and over again. There are a couple of general challenges within the field. Part of that is also the evolving compliance frameworks, right? Because, traditionally speaking, like laws and regulations always are a few years behind the actualities of the world. So these are still also being created and constantly evolving, which means that companies also have to constantly be able to adapt in terms of, for example, their reporting or their reporting frameworks or their frequency or their process will have to keep evolving as time goes on, which is not always easy to change like that. Also sustainability, because it's mostly about, of course, thinking of new initiatives and challenge and ways to combat the challenges we're currently facing in the world. It requires a lot of creative thinking, a lot of communication with other people who need to make decisions, and it's a very, you could say, a demanding field in terms of you can never be too much on autopilot, because if you're an autopilot, you don't really invent new solutions to things. But that's can be said for more industries, but it also is particularly true for sustainability as well. And finally, of course, you have to, of course, when you want to make new initiatives within a company, it can be any company, right? But definitely also sustainability. Higher management will usually go off of some indications that the investment that they have to make in order to create this initiative will also have some kind of positive ROI for their business, right? And that's developing metrics for that, given that it's a relatively new field in the workforce, can also be challenging. But the biggest challenge of all, which we're mostly focusing on today, is the fact that there's not enough skilled professionals to take up all the labor that is currently being demanded. So I'm going to be covering also a couple of sources here, but generally speaking, there is a big discrepancy between the amount of people who actually have identifiable green skills, as we say in the resumes, versus the increasing global demand for people with these particular skills. So already, for example, by 2030, it's predicted that this discrepancy, that the demand will exceed the supply by about 40%. If trends continue, by 2050, this could be 200%. So the current trends just showed an increasing opportunity for people who might want to transition into that field, who might want to reskill and update their key skills. Will have a much more easier time landing positions in the future as well. And also, of course, being in demand means you have a better negotiating power. You can ask maybe for better benefits or better compensation, things like that as well. In the Netherlands specifically, by the way, it's good to note that in the past 5 years, we've seen about a 20% increase in sustainability positions. And there is also in the past 6 years, so between 2019 and 2025, let's say 2024, to be sure, the past 5 years, there's been an increase in European jobs in general of about 40% compared to before 2019. So definitely in terms of supply and demand, it's looking very attractive right now for people who might want to, who are already working in the field, who might want to transition into them. And so these are all great insights, of course, but really, realistically, what does this mean for you as someone who might be considering entering that field? So I just covered, of course, the increase in job postings with an extremely growing demand, which leads to increasing opportunities as organizations, of course, will increasingly have to invest more to attract more people and to retain more people as well. What's also interesting, actually, on a global level, is that half the global GDP apparently is reliant on the existence and preservation, in that sense, of nature, which means that over time, more and more, if not most industries, will face sustainability challenges and they'll have to adapt also as regulations keep evolving, which allows for even more opportunities as someone who has a career switch in their mind to actually transition into it, because that will also support this increase in demand even further. And thirdly, as you may have already read, that a large group of managers report that sustainability efforts have helped capture new market opportunities, which means that roles within sustainability are increasingly looked at as being strategic and less compliance-based or supportive, as you could say. As most positions in companies in the past, to paint a picture, when regulations were new, many companies who didn't have sustainability practices yet were mostly focused on the compliance side of things, right? So we have to make sure we address the minimum amount of requirement here. As long as it looks in the reporting, it's good enough for us. But that has evolved as people have actually witnessed many positive ROIs from these new initiatives coming up, right? So that is definitely an interesting insight over there. And indeed, 85% of sustainability jobs nowadays, they require skills from other domains. So if, for example, you come from a finance or accounting background, you probably have experience with financial analysis or risk assessment, which can be used for ESG reporting or climate analysis. If it's for marketing communications, you probably have a lot of experience with storytelling, behavior change programs, and stakeholder management, well, and so on and so forth. I don't have to read them out to you, right? But there are many instances where your past accomplishments, responsibilities can be translated quite easily to the field of sustainability. So let's look over a couple of examples from the top career opportunities in sustainability, right? You have a couple of titles here, such as sustainability manager, circular economy specialist, and climate risk analyst. So again, this is really driving the point home that sustainability is not really confounded to one particular corner of the global work industry. It has more to do that these positions will pop up more in various industries altogether. And what I would like you to look out for as you are interested in pursuing these positions is because it's easy to get lost in all of these different industries, environments, companies that all offer sustainability positions, right? It's very hard to narrow down because it's really not sector dependent. It's all dependent. Well, it's just going to keep increasing. So in order to narrow down your scope of search, I would recommend actually maybe reflecting a little bit on your past experience. So to understand in the past, what kind of responsibilities gave me motivation? What kind of results did I appreciate? What kind of accomplishments did I achieve? I think I already mentioned accomplishments. And then to figure out what kind of position I would want to pursue within sustainability, right? To narrow down for yourself a little bit. And additionally as well, given that it's, again, a relatively new field that people are working in, companies will, of course, differ in their naming of certain roles as well. But if you want to get an idea of what responsibilities constitute a certain role, you can always cross-reference across different similar-looking positions to understand what are the must-haves of this position and what are the additional nice-to-have, so to speak, right? So that is just to give you an example, but there are many different positions out there, and you will never really run out of them if the data speaks any truth. So that's all well and good, of course. I might hear you think, right? I mean, the trends are looking up. There's plenty of opportunity. How can I not get into this, right? Um, but what about it? I have no experience in sustainability, right? So, like I said, I believe that there are many skills you already have that will definitely help you in achieving your goals this way. Like I said, but after you've reflected on what you want to do, I think it might be helpful to do some kind of a gap analysis for yourself. So, of course, you might have many transferable skills and responsibilities already, but it might not be a one-to-one transition like that. So maybe there are some things you might need to know, like upgrade your knowledge on the topic. Maybe you'll need a bit of extra experience, right? And it might be good before you start acting on what you need to do. It might be good to address that first with yourself. Maybe write down a list of 3 to 5 items you need to cover, and um, yeah, and then so you have particular order in tackling these gaps, right? I would also recommend definitely to find people who might already be working in sustainability, right? Maybe you can consult your own network already, family, friends, colleagues. Maybe you can go look on LinkedIn for that and just talk with people, see what their experience is. How did you get into this field? What are your daily responsibilities? How is it working out for you? You know, just get more information as you go along. And finally, of course, I mean, you see on the right side as well, there are a couple of ways that you can either increase your experience or knowledge, especially about experience, right? Perhaps you don't need to make a complete 180, quit your job and go somewhere else. Perhaps there's also room for you to experiment with this kind of work. Perhaps you can run your own project. Perhaps you can take on something along the lines of volunteering. So there's many different ways that you can go about that. Um, and what I might finally say, let me see it. Oh, what I might finally say about this, sorry about that, is that also I would recommend when you do get started in sustainability and trying to figure out how to address the gaps that you may have, I can definitely also recommend to take it step by step, because making any big change requires a lot of time and energy and also mental effort aside from regular effort. So your regular life also doesn't stop, right? Your current job might not stop. Your other responsibilities, of course, also don't stop. So I would say take it step by step. Make the list of your gap analysis in a priority kind of setting. Tackle one thing at a time and take your time with it too. I believe in general, depending on your personal situation, a transition could take anywhere from 6 to 18 months. So keep that in mind. It's not a race. I mean, jobs will keep increasing according to data, hopefully as well. So it's not a race. You don't have to get there first, but if you want to get there, do it in a sustainable way, you could say. Yeah, I think that's about wraps up what I wanted to say there. So in conclusion, sorry about that, I'm a little slow with the clicker. I really believe that sustainability can offer meaningful work with a growing demand in the data as well. Your existing experience is definitely valuable, as in the field needs diverse backgrounds, and start small. And finally, if I can just give you a little tidbit of what it's like, reports also show that most people who switch their career to work in sustainability report a very high level of personal motivation and general happiness in work. So that also shows something about that there's very low churn and that people feel motivated because they have a sense of purpose in there, right? So aside from career growth and career advancement, purpose can also be a very important motivator. But of course, the perfect career is up to you and what you find most important. So I think that's enough from me. Maybe we'll move to some questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for that useful insight on the sustainability job market. We do have some questions.
Let's see.
Okay, so the first question is, are there specific industries where sustainability transitions are easier than others?
Okay, certain industries, right? So I do believe currently that there are definitely some industries already that are a bit farther ahead in this, especially in the Netherlands than other places. So I know that, for example, maritime, logistics, I want to say also agriculture and government are definitely the farthest industries ahead right now. But like I said, I do predict that more of those industries will start joining the lineup as things go on.
Thank you. And the next question is, with so many companies greenwashing, how do you know which organizations are really truly committed to sustainability?
All right, well, that's a very good question indeed. It is true, of course, that greenwashing is a thing. Companies also use sustainability as a marketing and reputation tool, right? What I would say, if you're truly want to work for a sustainable company, research the company and identify if they actually list and incorporate data into their high level governance, right? So if sustainability is a big part of their main values and not just a block or not like a subfield of their governance, it usually says something good about the company if they build part of their values around that as well. And indeed, make sure that when they make certain claims about sustainability, that it's backed up by research, right? In that case, you'll know that it's coming from somewhere reliable.
Thank you. The next question is, aren't most jobs just ESG reporting?
I have heard this before in the past that it is kind of a stereotype within the world of sustainability that what is it just jobs that are just about reporting and being sure that you're compliant. I do believe it used to be that way, but I don't think it's that way anymore. As I just said, many more jobs, like sustainability initiatives, have proven their worth over time. So more and more management teams or managers have agreed to invest in sustainability initiatives. So I do believe that we have come past that point. And the reason that many companies start this way is because, of course, it has to be in some way, shape, or form proven that these initiatives can be effective. And again, the positive ROI, which is important for them as well. So if you're the company maybe that hasn't gone that far yet, there's a good chance they may start with ESG reporting, but it has to serve as some kind of foundation in order to build more initiatives off of that in many cases.
Finally, would you recommend doing a special CV format for sustainability jobs?
A special CV format for sustainability jobs. I mean, particularly, I believe that a good CV, or let's say the best CV, consists of two elements. There's, of course, the format and the content you put on there, but the second part is how well it's tailored to a particular vacancy. So a specific format, I don't necessarily have top of mind right now that you should use, as long as it's clear, readable, and structured, and just make sure that it's tailored as well as you can to the particular vacancy that you're applying for.
Next question. Do most sustainability related roles in the Netherlands require fluency in Dutch, especially considering the need to align with Dutch government policies and regulations?
That's a good question, right? In general, I can say that there's definitely how do you say this? Dutch requirements are necessary when you're dealing a lot with clients, definitely, right? So we hear from many companies that they're still very eager to hire non-Dutch speakers as well in the market. But only those companies that are actively working with many clients seem to be a little less enthusiastic right now, not because of their own policies, because of the preference of the clients. So that also can depend kind of on the job within sustainability that you're looking for. If it's more client focused, I think your chances are a little bit smaller, but if they're less client focused, I think you have a better chance again at landing that. Yeah.
Thank you. We don't have any more questions at the moment, so I'll be moving on. So before I talk about our online master, we have another webinar for those of you that want to get to know more about the sustainability management field. We have a taster session with our experts in the field who will be giving you a look into one of the courses and really give you an overview of what we'll be covering in sustainability management. And then we're using real life case studies and examples. So our online Masters of Sustainability Management is fully online. It's over 2 years part-time, so you can continue working alongside studying. You will become an expert in the field by the end of this. You'll be able to not only analyze sustainable problems, you'll be able to hopefully find solutions for them too. As Karim mentioned, there are lots of jobs coming up in this sector, and if you're not sure how to do that, this is definitely a way into that. This is an overview of our program. We will have 4 courses in the first year, where we're looking at looking into understanding the sustainability field, really working with people from different countries and business executives to find different, to understand different experiences. So you're not just focused on your own company or your own learning experience. It's a really interactive working environment, really personalized approach. You'll also have the opportunity to have one-to-ones with our experts. These are some of our professors. In the second year, you'll be doing 2 more courses, such as tackling social issues and environmental issues. And you'll also be doing a final project where you are going to be finding solutions for a real life problem, which is great work experience while you're studying as well. If you have any more questions about our online masters, you can get in touch. You can also scan the QR code here on the screen for our brochure. I will be taking any questions that you have now. And if you have some later, you can also contact online masters at rsm.nl. I see a question here about financial aid. Are we going to have a webinar about financial aid? There isn't one, a webinar planned. Yes, I see there's lots of interest in financial options and scholarships. We will be releasing details about that in the coming weeks. There will be scholarship options. You will be able to apply for different scholarships with different criteria and get up to 1,000 or 2,000 euros off your tuition fees. The tuition fees are 19,000 euros for the 2 years in total. And there's also the opportunity to bring this information to your employer and see if they can also fund you. There might be some discounts available too, if that makes sense. The entry requirements. Yes, so you need to upload your bachelor's. You need to have 3 years of working experience. You don't have to have specific sustainability management experience. Of course, if you do have relevant experience, that's great. If you're looking to change into the sustainability sector, this is definitely something for you. You will need to write a motivation letter and also upload your grade transcripts. Will there be an info session about the day-to-day life of an online student? That is definitely an option that we'll be looking into. We don't have any current students in these masters now, but we'll be sharing that information soon. Are there any other questions?
I'll just take it in.
I'll give it a little longer. Are there any on-campus lessons? No, the online masters are fully online. If you're in the country and you want to come into campus, of course, you're more than welcome to use our facilities or come in and meet your teachers, but everything is fully online. An online degree does not sponsor a student visa. The degree will be fully online, but you do have the opportunity to apply for a working visa for a year after studying. Will I have access to the library? I assume you mean online library. There's lots and lots of material and information available online. If you want to come in and use the library facilities on campus, you're more than welcome to as well. About the accreditation and recognition, we are an accredited program. You can have a look about all the details on the website. And if you'd like more information, you can get in touch with me as well. The email is on screen. There's a question for Karim. What is a good entry job to work in sustainability?
Ooh, that's a good entry job. Okay, I do really like the question. So of course, the first question, if we were in a coaching session, I would ask you, well, what do you like to do first, right? But if you're asking in general, will be a good starting point. If you happen to be good with reporting, then ESG reporting it can definitely be an interesting one. Otherwise, I think a good starting point in general would be to indeed see, like maybe in your current position or your current company, are there any sustainable initiatives that you're thinking about implementing yourself? And can you try maybe that first? Maybe you can play around with a couple ideas if you have the freedom from your manager, for example, to go do something else if your regular tasks aren't suffering from that, so that you can experiment with and gain some experience at the same time.
And we have another question for you. Are there any career support during the program?
If that's the case, I'm not looked into that yet. So hopefully to be continued, but I can't guarantee that, unfortunately.
But our students here can, of course, access the career facilities here at RSM.
Oh, right. I mean, we also do indeed. We have regular career facilities as well. I thought we were asking specifically about
Yes, yeah.
apologies. No, indeed, we have a career center as well available for you to make appointments with, consult on your ideas and your wishes and aspirations. That does exist.
Okay, it looks like there are no more questions. And if you think of anything later, you can always get in touch with us. Thank you so much for joining us and hope to see you at the next one.
Feel free to connect on LinkedIn and have a good day. See you around.
See you, bye.